Shalom. Carlo Yahba Shah. Shalom to the elect. I happened to get online once I got in from the plantation. And I was just looking at different news videos and different clips. Now, I didn't even know about this. I happened to click on this video just to see what it was talking about. Because sometimes I like to sharpen my mind and listen to certain people break out the scriptures and see how they be going off. And make sure I stay, sharp-minded. And remember precept upon precept. But anyway, as I was listening to this video, like I normally do, I scroll through a few comments just to see what other people think about what people be posting. And then I happen to notice this right here. It says, it's all about Israel. In case you don't know, the nuclear talks have pretty much fallen apart, because if you've been watching the news, they've actually been saying that they're going to hold meetings that actually denuclearize certain areas, which, if you know these scriptures, you know that that's not going to go down how they want it to go down. Let me go to this precept real quick. Alright, let me finish reading and I go to it. Anyway, it says, just about 2 hours ago in Iran. Now, he put this 13 hours ago. I was working a long-ass shift, so I ain't even see this because I was doing so much different stuff. I was trying to check the media, but it wasn't even showing nothing about none of this. Now, I'm sure it may come out a little bit later today or something once they try to doctor some facts or whatever they try to do. But it may not come out because Esau really don't want certain stuff out, and they don't want people to panic. But anyway, it said there was a huge explosion at an Iranian nuclear facility, felt 20 kilometers away. They are evacuating people because of a pungent odor coming into nearby villages. It is believed that the facility was hit by a missile. Let me scroll down. It said just after this happened, the Iranians launched a rocket attack on a U.S. base in Syria. 3 rockets hit a U.S. base in Koniko oil field north of Deir ez-Zor. After the rockets hit, American helicopters flew widely over the base. The explosion in Natanz, the telephone network fell in the area. Iran has deliberately toppled the communication system to prevent information from being extracted from the region. So this could be another reason why certain info ain't coming out as well, but you still have people that's on the ground that see certain stuff or hear certain stuff and hop right online and post it on the web. Because that's what the internet really was originally created for military tactics, so you can share information quickly. Then the next thing you know, it got into the hands of the people ultimately, so this information can be spread worldwide, so nobody won't have no excuse and be like, oh, I didn't know that was going down over there. And the whole time, the information been coming out. So it said the telephone network fell in the area. Iran has deliberately toppled the communication system to prevent information from being extracted from the region. This comes directly from Amir Sephardi in Israel. They was just talking how, let me go to this video real quick. Got a lot of different ones queued up. Let's see.
Iran's chief nuclear negotiator at the Vienna talks told Al Jazeera that Tehran had presented its proposals and the other parties should present theirs.
The proposals tabled by Iran cannot be rejected at all because they are based on the provisions of the 2015 nuclear agreement. And in principle, the countries which are still the participants of the JCPOA, they do not want to ruin the nuclear document. all the sanctions which have been imposed or reimposed under the so-called maximum pressure campaign of the United States, they should be removed immediately.
The U.S. Secretary of State, however, painted a bleak picture. What he suggested was Iran in intransigence and a united international front.
Now we've had this first round of talks since the new government's in, and what we've seen in the last couple of days is that Iran right now does not seem to be serious. We're now in a different place.
Yeah, I can see they catch it on the east side of they devilish ways. Now let's go to this preset real quick. I was gonna put the other one. Let me get this. In the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21, it says, the words of his mouth are smoother than butter. Listen to this damn devil talk. They get on there talking all smooth and shit. Let's go back real quick.
The U.S. Secretary of State, however, painted a bleak picture. What he suggested was Iran in intransigence and a united international front.
Now we've had this first round of talks since the new government's in, and what we've seen in the last couple of days is that Iran right now does not seem to be serious. We're now in a different place. And even...
I always say this. The person that say all the time, they fucking talking. They don't think clearly and they're not sure what they actually saying. So this guy definitely not sure what he really saying. And he reading some shit that another Edomite wrote for him too. That's why he look at his eyes. That's why he looking like that. But he for this shit though. And these heathens, these other nations, like the scriptures say, I made these small among the heathen. Thy pride have deceived thee, that pride. And it's crazy when you look at that eagle over there on the right, look like the eagle falling. They set their nests on high, saying that no one should bring them down, roughly paraphrasing. But they're going to get brought down now. Let me go back to this in the book of Psalms. Chapter 55, verse 21 said, the words of his mouth are smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So they talked all this shit, which I'm going to go back to the other video that I just happened to come across, about all this peace talk, the nuclearizing it. Let me play some more.
Russia and China are clearly frustrated with what Iran is doing or not doing in these talks.
However, the Russian ambassador appeared relatively unambiguous about the adjournment.
And that's not even true, because if you actually go look it up, like the prophecy saying in the book of Ezekiel, that God should be, matter of fact, let me go to it. I don't want to butcher it. Go to it. I think it's Ezekiel chapter 38. If I'm mistaken, give me 1 minute. Alright, here we go. Book of Ezekiel chapter 30. I'm just reading on down that verse. Let's see where I want to start at. Verse 4 says, and I will turn thee back, put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And keep in mind that main one that they said is mentioned in the front is Persia, which Iran is actually Persian. They don't really call themselves Iranians, they call themselves Persians. That's just what Esau put in the media. It says Goma and all his bands, the house of Togarmah, the North Quarters, and all of his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And that's what's actually going on. You look at the news, that's why you have to really do your homework, do your research. See, these damn Edomites, they'll post something like this when the whole time it's really something else. That's another video. You actually got Putin saying to the U.S., don't help Ukraine, don't try to send no weaponry and all this other extra stuff, which they already been sending weapons, so, hey, only days away to see what really unfold over there, because they got stuff going on in that region as well. Then the stuff that's going on with Iran, they already said they're going to back Iran. And they dealing with China as well. With that Taiwan situation, they back in China. And the U.S. wants to arm Taiwan to actually stir up something. So, man, at the times that we in, like the scripture says, it's a time for everything. It's a time for every season. We're in that wartime right now. Let me go to this real quick. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 8. It says it's a time to love and a time to hate. But everybody's always talking about that all love stuff, which is fake. Some stuff you're not gonna like. It is what it is. It says a time for war and a time for peace. And we're not in that peaceful time. You look at the world look real peaceful right now. I mean, you know, people have their little areas and they dwelling place they live in to find a peace of mind and different stuff that's going on. But when you look at majority of the world, it's in chaos. It's in a warlike state. And when you look at the news, the most stuff you hear about is war. Let me go back. Let the rest of this video play and I'll put it
There's a
up.
technical break at the Vienna talks, which will resume next week, he tweeted. An opportunity for each participant, including Iran and the US, to consult with the capitals and to think how to proceed further, taking into account the positions of other counterparts. The first week of talks confirmed predictions that initially both the US and the new Iranian government would take maximalist positions as they sized each other up. It's clear that Iran feels that, as it was the US who withdrew from the Iranian nuclear deal and then imposed unilateral sanctions, the onus is on Washington to act. The US feels differently, but there are further complications.
Now there's another element, which is the uncertainty about where the United States is going. And that is creating even greater problems, because even if sanctions are lifted today and the deal is revived, European companies are likely not going to go back into Iran until they are feeling far more confident that the new situation is a stable one. And there, the 2024 elections is a major, major factor.
So
Okay, let me pause that right there. Now, with that being said, ain't shit going on now, because look, I had to fact check this and see, I'm like, you know what, people just be posting comments and shit, saying a little different stuff. Let me see if you actually know what he was talking about this scenario. This video put. It's taking a little minute to load up. I'm about to refresh it. Give me 1 minute. Okay, here it goes. 17 hours ago. He said 13, so by the time I got to it, 17 hours ago.
So,
Alright, here we go, this advertisement shit. Let me skip past that. It says breaking. And I didn't even know about this channel. I just happened to find it I just subscribed to it, and it got some valuable information on it, just from the looks of it. That says breaking Israel's Mossad trick top Iranian scientists into blowing up their own nuclear facility. Well, let's see how this happened.
Hello everyone, welcome to E-Military. Today we have a big news for you. Mossad recruited a team of Iranian nuclear scientists to carry out a covert operation that blew up one of the regime's most secure nuclear facilities earlier this year, the Israeli media has revealed. As reported by the JC.com, up to 10 Iranian scientists were approached by Israeli agents and agreed to destroy the underground A1000 centrifuge hall at Natanz in April, though they believed that they were working for international dissident groups. Some of the explosives they used were dropped into the compound by a drone and quietly collected by the scientists, while others were smuggled into the high-security facility hidden in boxes of food on a catering ward. The ensuing destruction caused chaos in the highest echelons of the Iranian leadership. It demolished 90% of the centrifuges at the nuclear plant, delaying progress towards a bomb and putting the key complex out of action for up to 9 months. The new details are among astonishing secrets of 3 connected Mossad operations that took place over an 11-month period of sabotage in Iran. The first 2, in July 2020 and April 2021, targeted the complex in Natanz using explosives, while the third, in June this year, took the form of a quadcopter assault on the Iran centrifuge technology company, KESA, in the city of Karaj, 30 miles northwest of Tehran.
Let's see, this all lines up with this prophecy as well. Let me go to this. Because with them going back and forth, with Iran and Israel going back and forth, and these, some of these videos may sound repetitive, but the scriptures are repetitive. That's why you have precepts. So you have line upon line, just to make sure the message is got. And now it says in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 20, it says, "Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Edom and his purposes, that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." Now them stirring this shit up over there. See, Israel is backed by the U.S. So them stirring stuff up over there, it's going to pull the U.S. military further and further into backing up the stuff that they're doing over there. And you'll see, there's another video too I got queued up. And it's just backing up what I'm saying. That's all.
The reports published by the Israeli media revealed that Mossad spies hid explosives in building materials used to construct the Natanz centrifuge hall as long ago as 2019, then triggered them in 2020. Agents sneaked an armed quadcopter, weighing the same as a motorbike, into Iran piece by piece, and used it to launch missiles at the TESA site in Karaj in June. It reported that the 3 operations were planned together over an 18-month period by a team of 1,000 technicians, analysts, and spies, as well as scores of agents on the ground. The 3-part assault on Iranian nuclear infrastructure was carried out by Mossad acting alone, known in Israeli intelligence circles as a blue and white operation, and not jointly with the United States, dubbed blue, white, and red. The blast destroyed the independent and highly secure internal power system that supplied the centrifuges. It caused a power blackout in the heavily fortified complex, hours after Iran declared that it had begun to use advanced IR-5 and IR-6 centrifuges at the site. It reported the move to prevent a new attack by Israel. This week, the Israeli media has reported that Israel is embarking on a new policy of launching covert attacks on Iranian soil, meaning that further undercover operations are in the pipeline.
But wait a minute, there's supposed to be talks going on, not covert operations and shit. Nah, because of that stuff that's happening over there. this is the response to that.
Supply of S-400 air defense systems to the Syrian and Iranian armies made Israel, the USA, and Turkey panic. We will examine all the striking details of the attacks shortly. Russia, which was waiting for the USA to leave Syria after Afghanistan, and the USA's changing course and strengthening its army in Syria caused a debate between the two countries. Russia, which does not support any U.S. presence in Syria, also gave many warnings to the U.S. about the U.S. leaving Syria. However, the USA continued its activities by ignoring these warnings of Russia. In the following days, many attacks were carried out on the U.S. bases in Syria. It was not disclosed who first carried out the attack, and no organization claimed responsibility for the attack, but it was reported that these attacks were carried out by Iranian-backed militants. There are two critical points here. The reason for the attack by the Iranian-backed militants was that the U.S. first opened its airspace to Israel, allowing Israeli warplanes to hit the Iranian-backed militants much more easily. Secondly, we also know that Iranian-backed militants are becoming more and more pacified in the region. But behind this attack lay serious rocket power. It is alleged here that Iran-backed militants were encouraged and armed by Russia to attack U.S. bases. Later, Russia's warnings increased against the increasing U.S. air dominance in the region, and Russian electronic warfare systems attacked an American F-15 just before the attack on the U.S. base on November 23rd. While it was reported by the military sources in the region that the Russian electronic warfare system Bylina attacked the American F-15 and seriously damaged its electronic systems and that the aircraft may be unusable, the U.S. Army did not release any precise information about the latest status of the aircraft. The Pentagon is thought to be covering up this issue for now. If a Russian...
Yeah, that's what they want to do, because they don't want no... They mainly don't want the public to panic, knowing that World War III is breaking out, because that's going to make people go hit them stores up, stock up more on them goods, buy more ammo, hoard more gasoline. The list goes on. So they want to keep people in the dark. That's why it's up to certain men to actually alert people, let people know what's going on. And if a person who really don't want to hear it, hey, that's on their ass. But the information is out, man. It's not no made up stuff. It's not no myth. These scriptures not no myth. They weren't written by the so-called white man. Like how people try to put out that false narrative. This book completely exposed everything that they're doing. No, I ain't gonna let this whole video play. I'm trying to cut this video a little short. So people's attention span will be short. So I'm just gonna get a few more precepts. And I just end this off. That's the book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whatsoever he will. So these leaders, they may get on TV and say we're gonna hold talks, peace talks, we're gonna make a new treaty, and then this will happen. That's the book of Job real quick. Let's see, this how serious this is, because to go for me as well, even this precept right here, because I was about to make a video about something else, then I happened to see this, and I'm like, this is a little bit more important right here. You know, it just, Most High worked on me to guide me to make this about this topic right here. So, now it says in the book of Job, chapter 33 and verse, let me see where I want to go with. Verse 14, it says, for God speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Just like these precepts, these scriptures. They'll be in there once. Person might not get it. You hear it another time, they might not get it. You tell a person once, they might not get it. Tell them twice, they still might not get it. Unless they really meant to get it. Now verse 15, it says, in a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon man, and slumber is upon the bed, and he openeth the ears of man, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. And he keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword. But in this case right here, he's setting Esau and these heathens up to actually wipe each other out. So he ain't keeping them back from the sword. He about to let them take each other out with the sword. So even though they get on TV, like I said, they say we're gonna have peace talks, sign new treaties, and make stuff work out. Then the next day, you got events like this happening. And that's how the Most High work. That's the power of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. And the world gonna know that. They gonna know that. They gonna know the names. And when shit hit the fan, people gonna be asking for the names anyway, because they're gonna be wondering why certain people ain't getting harmed, why certain people not getting sick, why certain events not taking place with certain people when Esau go to rounding people up and throwing them in them camps. And the list goes on. So I just want to bring this out. I don't want to write this out. This is edifying. Call all y'all about Shalom to the left. And stay alert and doing your homework and paying attention to what's really going on. Shalom.